Good morning. Last class we did deletion of an element from an array at a given position. We wrote the algorithm, the program, as well as we saw the execution of it. Fine. Till now we have done traversal. In array traversal, we had wrote a program to find the frequency of occurrence of a number in a list of elements, or the frequency of occurrence of an element, how many times it occurs, whether it's there or not is the first thing, and then how many times it is repeated in a list. The second one we did for insertion of an element into an array at a given position. The third array operation what we did was deletion, that is deletion of an element at a given location. The fourth array operations are, what is that? Searching an element in an array. So what do you mean by searching? Searching means to find out whether an element is there in an array or not, and if the element is there, what is the location of it. When I say location, I am not checking here how many times the element is repeated. I am only checking whether it is there or not. So the location would be the location of the first occurrence if it is repeated. If it is not repeated, it is only once written, then that would be the location. If it is not there, then the element not found. Getting it? That is to find whether an element is present in an array or a list of elements or not is nothing but searching of an element in an array. So what do I do? It is used to find out the location of a data element if it exists. That is, if it is present in a collection, you need to check whether that element, search element, we call it as search element, whether the search element is present in a list of elements is not, and if it is present, what is the location of it, like what is the location of the element. For example, if I have 1 2 3 4 as elements, 4 elements as 1 2 3 4, then if I have to search where is 3 located, because it is a third element, right? You need to find the location of the element. Or if I am searching for 0, 0 is not there in the list because the elements were 1 2 3 and 4. So this is called searching of an element, and there are different techniques to search an element in a list of elements, but we will be doing linear search and binary search. So what is linear search and binary search? What will we be doing? Linear search and binary search we are going to do. We'll start with linear search. Linear search is the simplest form of search wherein you will just search for the element in an unsorted list. Linear search is nothing but unsorted list. What do you mean by unsorted? That is, the elements in the list are not placed in any order. It can be ascending or descending. You are not placing the elements in any order. Such, you are just going to search for the element in an unsorted list by comparing the search element with each element of the list. That is linear search. You can see in this example I have an array collection 15, 50, 35, 20 and 25. So by seeing it, you can make out it is not written in any order. You have not, your elements are unsorted. That is, it is sorting means arranging it. Arranging the elements of a list in ascending or descending order is called a sorting of an array or a sorting of a list. So here you can see that 15, 50, 35, 20 and 25 are not arranged in any order. It is an unsorted list. And what is the search element here? The search element is 20. That is, you are searching for an element 20, whether 20 is there in the list or not. And how do you do that? You start comparing it with the first element. What is the first element? 15. So you will see whether 15, 20 is equal to 15. No. Then you will compare it with the next element in the list, whether 20 is equal to 50. Again, they are not same. It is unequal or it do not match. Then you go to the third element, that is 35. You compare whether 20 is equal to 35. Here 20 is the search element which is entered by the user. Getting it? So 35, definitely 20 is not equal to 35. Then you compare it with the next element, and here we find the element 20 is equal to 20. So the location of element is 4. That is the index value. Whatever is the index value of the element would be the location of the element. For example, in the same list, if I am searching for element 0. So what happens? I will check 0. That is the search element with 15. It is not same. Then with 50, again when we compare, it do not match. Then 35, 20 and 25. Every time it doesn't match, so the element is not found in the list. Correct? This is linear search. Let me write a proper example for you with a proper table so that you will be able to understand linear search. Then we will write the algorithm for it and then the program. I will also show you the execution of it. So now we'll start with the example. So let me consider the following array. Consider the following list. So, for example, I have 12 at A of 0 location, and then I have 23 at A of 1, then I have 14 at A of 2, minus 6 at A of 3. What is the n value here? N is 4. That is the number of elements. And for example, I am searching for an element minus 6. So I am searching whether minus 6 is present here or not. This is the search element is minus 6 and this is my list. In this list, you are going to check whether the search element minus 6 is present or not. This again is entered by the user. So what will I say? Let me write it this way. So first is the array. index I, that is the location. Okay, compare what is search element -6 as entered by the user, location of the element. Okay, then the array is 12, 23, 14 minus 6. This is A of 0, A of 1, A of 2 and A of 3. Now, what is the index value to begin with? I have to compare it with the 0th element, correct? So, first to begin with, the index value will be 0 because I am comparing it with this element. What are the elements? What is the search element? -6 is equal to, what is the element at A of 0? 12. So, do not match, correct? So location is nothing but LOC is -1. Why is it -1? Because if I make it as 0, then it would be the first element because subscript value starts from there. So I will give it as -1, assuming that the element is not present in the list. So LOC remains the same. Next, what will happen? I is equal to 1 because next element you need to check. So, what is the value here? A of 1, 1 is -6 is equal to 23. So, what is my -6? The search element, right? And my 23 is the A of 1 element. I am checking, it is do not match. So LOC is equal to -1 because LOC remains -1 as long as the element is not found. So after 1, I is equal to 2. What is A of 2 element? A of 2 element is -6 is equal to 14. I need to compare it with that. Then do not match. So LOC is equal to -1 only because until I find a match, it will be -1 only. Now I is equal to 3. What is 3? -6. So -6 is equal to -6. Correct? Matches. So LOC is equal to 3. Correct? Then since LOC is greater than -1, the element -6 found in location. What was the LOC value? 3, right? So this is how you perform linear search. Are you getting it? If suppose I am searching for element -7, here also it will say do not match and it will give me LOC is -1. Then I say since LOC is not greater than -1, the element not found. But here you just LOC is -1 means element is not found. If the element is found, I will give that index value. What is, by this time you should have understood what is I. That is index I. First time is 0, second time is 1, 2 and 3. Each time -6 is entered by the user and I am going on comparing it with each one and do not match LOC remains the same. -1. If it is matching, whatever is the index value, I am going to make LOC that. And then I will check whether LOC is greater than -1. If it is greater than -1, whatever is the index value, location value, it is found. Otherwise, the element not found. Hopefully, you have understood this. Please have a look. Next, we will write the algorithm. Please make a note. Linear search algorithm. So what is that? In that, A is an array of n elements, and ELE is the search element, or I can, and ELE is the element being searched. Is the element being searched. Okay, this is the statement. Let me start with step 1. What is step 1? I will say LOC is equal to minus 1. Why is it minus 1? Because the array index value starts from 0. So, I will say it is minus 1, assuming the element is not found, or the assuming the ELE not exists. Okay. LOC is minus 1. Here I am assuming the element is not present to begin with. Next is step 2. What is the step 2? You need to check each element. So it will be a for loop, right? For I is equal to 0 to n minus 1, do. What are you going to do? That is step 3. You have an if, correct? You have to compare. If ELE is equal to A of I, then what will LOC become? LOC is equal to I, then go to step. Let me write the step later. This is step 4. Next is step 5. What will happen in step 5? Tell me. End of step 2 for. Okay. This go to will come to step 5 and end of for. Next is step 6. Here I will say if. Okay. What is the thing? If LOC is greater than minus 1, then element found. Correct? I'll say element found in location LOC, else What is else? Print element not found. And if step 8 exit. This is your algorithm. That is, I'm searching and A is the array of n elements. ELE is the search element. LOC is equal to -1 in the step 1 because I am assuming that the element is not there. Then I am going to check with each element. That is what we did. I value from 0 to n minus 1 where n is the number of elements. So if the element is equal to A of I, if the element is equal to A of I, then LOC is equal to I, go to step 6. What am I doing in step 6? I am saying whether LOC is greater than -1, yes. Then print the element is found in the location. So I will, if the element is found here, directly I will go to step 6. Otherwise, I am going to go back, increment like that I am going to do every time. And then end of step 2 for loop. Here I am checking whether the element is found or not. If LOC is greater than -1, then element found. Otherwise, element not found. Please have a look. Make a note of it. Now we'll start with the program. Hopefully you have understood the uh, trace, that is the example what we did, as well as the algorithm. Now we'll be starting. How do I start it? With hash include iostream dot h hash include conio dot h. After that I need to write my class. So class, let the name of my class be linear because linear is a technique, it is not a keyword. So anything which is not a keyword can be used as an identifier name. So I will be naming my class as linear because I am going to perform linear search. Then in the private, what do I have? I will be writing data members here like int a of 30, that is I am going to have maximum of 30 integer elements in my array A. N is the number of elements, that is it whether I might have declared of 30 elements like maximum of 30 elements, but it is not compulsory that you need to enter all the 30 elements. So I'll ask the user to enter the number of elements, and n is the number of elements, I is for the index value, then ELA is to take in the search element, and LOC is the location of the element. So what do I do? To begin with, I will say that LOC is -1 because I'll assume that the search element is not there in the list. If the element is there in the list, it will LOC will take the value of the index value of that element. But if the element is not there, then LOC remains -1 only. And why not 0? Because if I say LOC is equal to 0, then it would be the first element, because array index or the subscript starts from 0 to n minus 1. That is why I need to give LOC is equal to minus 1. But then I cannot give the initial value here because it will give me error. So where do I give the initial value? Either I can give it in a constructor or a member function. So let me write a constructor here. So constructors are special functions which has the same name as the class name declared in the public section of the class without any written type, not even void. That is, constructors do not have any written type. It has the same name as the class name and it has to be declared in the public section of the class. So what is the name of the class? So my constructor name also will be linear only because it should have the same name as the class name. After that, to take in the number of elements as well as the n elements I need to take in from the user. So I will have my input function. After that, what will I do? I need to search for the element, right? So I will say void search. That is, I need to search whether the element is present or not, and before that I need to take in the search element. What is the search element from the user? All that I would be doing in the function search. Then once it is done, I need to display it to the user, right? Output has to be displayed. So void display is another function, and this is the end of my class. So what are these? These are data members. This is the default constructor, and these three are member functions. Correct? That is, linear is the name of the class. I have a of 30, which is an array of maximum 30 integers, and then n is the number of elements. I is used for index value. Element ele is the search element which needs to be entered by the user, and then I have loc, which is the location of the element. Correct? Then in the public, I have a constructor, that is linear. Constructors are functions which do not return any value and it has the same name as the class name. Why do I need that constructor? Because I need to give an initial value to LOC as -1. Why is that so? Because I am assuming to begin with the search element is not there in the list. Then I will go on comparing. If I find it, I will make the LOC will take the value of the index value of that element in the list. That I would be doing in the function search. In display, I would be displaying the details like what are the array elements entered by the user, what was the search element, and whether the search element is there in the list or not, and if the search element is there, what is the location of the element. So these are the things which I am going to do. Fine. And since this constructor is not taking any parameters, it is a default constructor. That is, constructor without any parameters is a default constructor. How does it get executed? When you create an object for the class, the default constructor gets executed. Please have a look and make a note of it. Then we can continue with our we'll start with our constructor because all the declarations I have done in the class, I need to define all the functions outside the class. So that will continue. Please make a note of this. Constructor. Constructor is a function which has the same name as the class name without any return value. Fine. So let me write my constructor first. What is the general syntax of writing something outside the class? That is declaring a function inside and writing it outside. First is the return type of the function, and then name of the class to which it belongs to, scope resolution operator, and the name of the function. Correct? So since constructor do not have any return type, I will be writing the name of the class to which it belongs to, that is linear, and then scope resolution operator and the name of the function. And since I do not pass any arguments to it, it is a default constructor. I will write LOC is equal to -1 here. Why is it so? I am assuming that there are no elements in the search element is not there in the list. If the search element is there, the location would be the index value. And since the array index starts from 0, I am giving the value -1 to LOC. Then after this, I will be writing my input function. How do I write it? Return type of the function, that is void, name of the class to which it belongs to, scope resolution operator, and the name of the function. What is the name of the function? Input. Okay. So first thing what I have to do is I have to ask the user how many elements he'll be having in his list. How do I do that? Cout, enter the number of elements in the list, or I can say in the array. C in n. So n would be the number of elements in the list or the array. After that, cout, enter array elements. Enter. So since it's a repetitive one, I'll be using the for loop for it. For I is equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus. C in A of I. So I'm taking in the elements. First, what did I do? I asked the user to enter the number of elements in the list. Later, I took in the elements. Fine. Now, after that, I am closing my input function. Because in my input function, I am asking the user to enter the number of elements I am taking in the elements. After that, I will be writing my search function. So what does search do? Search will search whether the search element is present in the list or not. How do I write it? The return type is void, name of the class to which it belongs to, is linear, and then name of the function is search. So first step is what? I need to ask the user to enter the search element, because without taking the search element, you will not be able to search, correct? So how do I do that? See out and enter the search element. CINELE. So I am taking in the search element in the variable ELE. So please make a note of this. Then we'll continue with the program. So now we'll continue with the program. Then after this, I have taken the search element. Now what should I do? I need to compare it with each element of the array, right? So for that reason, for I is equal to 0, yes? I less than n, I plus plus. I'm going to compare it with each element starting from the element present at the 0th location till the n minus 1th element, that is 0 to n minus 1 is nothing but n elements. So I'm going to start comparing it. How do I do that? I will have an if, right? Whenever I compare, you use an if. If ELE, whatever the user has entered, is equal to A of I, that is, whether it's equal, then what will I do? LOC is equal to I and break. Why break? Because I wouldn't be continuing it after this. If the element is found, then I'm going to write down the location and I'm going to stop my searching, because once it is found, I need not continue and compare it with the other elements, correct? For example, I have A of 0 is nothing but 8 is stored here, A of 1, 5 is stored there, A of 2, minus 10 is stored there, okay. A of 3, 6 is stored there, minus 10, 6. So what is the n value? N value is 1, 2, 3, 4. Number of elements is 4. And suppose ELE is 5. I'm searching for an element 5 in the list. So what should I do? To begin with, LOC is minus 1, correct? I will go here, I is 0. What is n? N is 4. So 0 is less than 4. It will come inside. If ELE, what is ELE? 5. That is A of 0 and 5. What is A of 0? A of 0 is nothing but 8. 8. That is 5 equal to 8. It does not match. Then it will go back. It will not go inside if, because this condition becomes false. It will go back, increment the value of I is 1. So it will come here. So now what are you comparing? A of 1 and ELE. So what is A of 1? A of 1 is 5 and ELE is equal to 5. That is true. Correct? It will come inside LOC is equal to I. What is I? 1. And break, because once I found this, I need not compare again with these two, because I already found the search element here. So once you find the search element, continuing it does not make any sense, correct? So it will break. What does break do? Break is a jump statement which exits the loop whenever it is encountered, and it goes and start executing from the first line after the loop. So I will end my if here, end my for here, and end my search function here. Hopefully I've understood my function. After this, what am I going to do? I'm going to continue with display. So I need to print the output, right? Where am I going to do that? I'm going to do that in the display function. How do I write it? Void is the written type of display. Linear is the name of the class to which it belongs to. Scope resolution operator and the name of the function. Displays the name of the function. So before that, let me display the list. See out the array elements are for I is equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus, C out, A of I, and then backslash T for tab space between the elements. I'm going to end my for here. So the array elements are would be printed. After that, I'm going to print my array, correct? Then I'm going to print C out and del the search element. What search element? ELE, correct? Search element, I have stored the search element whatever the user entered in ELE. So it will print me search element. Whatever is written in the double quotes is printed as it is, and then whatever is written outside quotes, the variable's value would be printed. Then I have to check first whether the element is present or not. How do I do that? If LOC value is not equal to -1, that is, it has changed, or greater than -1, then it means that the element is present. Otherwise, the element is not present, correct? So I'll say if LOC is greater than or equal to 0, because 0 is the first element. So if the search element is the first element, it will be equal to 0. Otherwise, it will be greater than 0. That is why LOC is greater than or equal to 0. See out the element found in location LOC and L, correct? If the element is found, I will write it, else C out element not found. Now I will close my if here and I will close my display function here. Have a look. What am I doing here? I'm saying I is equal to 0 to I less than n, I plus plus. Why is this loop? This loop is going to compare each element with the search element starting from the 0th element, which happens to be the first element in the list. So how are you going to do it? ELE double equal to A of I. that is a of 0 because the I value is 0 to begin with. Double equal to is a relational operator which says that it will compare the LHS to RHS. If both are equal, it will give you a true or a 1 value, and if they are not equal, it gives you a 0 or a false value. Okay, LOC is equal to I because index value only is the location what we are storing. In the example also, while tracing we did the same thing, as well as in the algorithm also we did the same thing. After that, break, because once the element is found, I don't have to continue searching, because suppose there are 100 elements in my list and the search element what I'm searching for is somewhere like it is the 10th element, so I need not again compare with 90 elements, right? It doesn't make any sense because I have already found my search element in the list. That is why I am having a break here. If the element is found, then I am going to stop comparing. Otherwise, I am going to compare till I reach the n minus 1th element. After comparing it, still I have not got, I will exit the loop and say that the element not found. Otherwise, element found in the LOC location. So, if the element is there, the value of LOC changes to I. Otherwise, it would remain minus 1 only. Then void linear display. The array elements are, I am printing the elements of the array. I am also printing what was the search element entered by the user, and then I am printing if LOC is greater than or equal to 0. It will be equal to 0 when it is the first element. The search element is the first element. Otherwise, it will be greater than 0. Then the element found in the location LOC, because I have given the I value here if it is found. Otherwise, if it remains minus 1, the element not found. This completes my if here, and then my display function here. So what did I do? I first wrote the constructor, initialized the value of LOC to minus 1, then I wrote my input function wherein I took the number of elements as well as the elements of the list. In search function, I ask the user to enter the search element and I compare the search element with each element of the list. If the element is found, I have noted down its location. Otherwise, the LOC remains minus 1. In display function, I am displaying a list entered by the user along with the search element, which again is entered by the user, and checking whether the LOC value is greater than or equal to 0. If it is so, then the element is found in the location, whatever is the LOC value. Otherwise, the element not found. Make a note of this because we need to continue with our main function. Then only we'll come to the end of the program. Now we'll write our main function and we'll finish our program with that. So void main first, clear screen. Now I have to create an object because in order to access the elements of the class like data members or member functions, I cannot access the data members here because everything is declared in private, but member functions are declared in public. In order to access that, I need to create an object for the class. So when the object is created, then only the memory gets allocated for it. So how do I do that? The general syntax of creating an object is class name space the object name. So what was the class name? Linear, and LOBJ is the object name. Again, the object name is any identifier name. It should not be a keyword. All those rules is applicable. I am naming my object as LOBJ. So when I create this object, memory gets allocated for the class and the default constructor would be run. So when the default constructor gets executed, the variable LOC would be assigned with the value -1 because I have written it in my constructor. After that, I will call my functions. Which is the first function I need to call? I need to call the input function. See, the writing the function, I can write first display and then search and input. The order does not matter when you write the function, but when you're calling it or executing, the sequence or the order in which it is called is very important, because if I call the search without the before the input function, since I haven't taken the array at all, where will I search? So it may give you display. What will I display without performing anything? So you have to be very careful when you are calling. That sequence or order is very important. First I need to call my input function. After that, I need to call my search, right? And then the last would be display. I call my display function, get ch, and end of my program. So we come to the end of the program. So LOBJ is the object of the class linear, and with the help of the object dot the function name would execute the functions which is declared and defined in the class. And whenever I create an object, the default constructor would be run and the memory also would be allocated for the class. Please have a look, and then I will show you the execution of this program. Hopefully you have understood what is linear search. Now we'll see the execution of the program. Okay, let us start. C++. So file, first let me close all the files. Close all. Open linear dot cpp. So I have the program, whatever we wrote, I have typed in the same program. We'll have a look here. So I have hash include, class name is linear. In this I have an array ARR, ELE, LOC, I and N. N is for number of elements, I is for the index value, L is for location, EL is the element, and ARR is the array. Then I have input, search and display, and this is how I declare a class inside a function inside a class and define it outside. So I have written all, like enter the number of elements, enter the array element. In search, I am taking in the search element and comparing it with each of that, correct? And then while printing, I am printing LOC plus 1 because index value starts from 0. array index. So actually in the list it would be fourth element if the index value is 3. So for that reason I have made it as LOC plus 1. And tab spaces I have search element display function, and then I have created the object and called the functions. So let me run this. Run. Yes. Enter the number of elements in the array. If I say number of elements is 5, enter the array elements 1, 0, 9, 7, 6. Enter the search element. For example, let me enter 9. So the entered array is 10976. Yes, I have entered the same array. The search element is 9, correct? And the element is found in the location 3. See, 1 is in location 1, 0 is in location 2, and 9 is location 3. Whereas the subscript value would be 0, 1, 2, 3. But when I see it as a user, 9 is a third element. That is why I have written location plus 1. This is correct, right? Now, let me run the same program where the element does not exist. So, let me say the elements are 7. So, enter the search element -8. The element not found. Yes, -8 is not there in my array. That means that the location value remains -1 only. It compared with all the elements and the element not found. Correct? Yeah. Hopefully you have understood after seeing the execution. Let me close the file. Okay. Alt X and exit. Now please note down the homework question. Define searching next is write an algorithm and write an algorithm and program to perform linear search. Okay, these are the two questions which you need to write. Please make a note of it. Hopefully you have understood today's class. Tomorrow's class will be having a revision to commerce students. Take care, stay safe. Bye bye.